All right, good day, everyone. Today is Sunday, October 13th, 2024. This day, we're going to do a sort of a recap video for the week. That way, we can get aligned. We were away from our desk handling personal matters on the 10th and 11th, each Thursday and Friday. So, we'll be sure to give a little extra love for that price action to see if we can see anything that we can document for our process and our playbook. We'll be sure to get a line for the price narrative, player positionings, and really anything else that's noteworthy for the overall recap of the week and as we head into the upcoming week. This video is going to be a little longer, a little more unorthodox with some critical thinking and just some time for me to process and make references. So just bear with me. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So typically when we would start, we would do our summary questions. Where's the market coming from? And what is price trying to accomplish? And before I would get started, I would always add references to the prior day. So in this case, we'll do the prior week. So the prior week is going to be this candle here. That was the end of September and the beginning of October. Looking on the daily candle, go ahead and bust out my arrows. This candle here with this arrow here, the first arrow, this was the beginning of last week. So just a reminder of where we were coming from. The bulls have control from the highest time frame and the intermediate. Again, we had our big sell-off towards in the beginning of July, and then the massive August rally, the pullback, and then the second leg from this August defensive stance. Where we are currently on the more daily momentum past week or so, we had this impulse out of this 2-week range. That was the leg lower, and that was rejected. We brought us back into balance, or at least so we thought. And then the bulls bursted out of that range and made a new all-time high, but didn't close above it. As we drifted to the top right, more of a bear flag, that is where we found ourselves for the 2 weeks ago opening. So as we are here, we are pulling back within the impulse candle. And it seems that this may be the time where we actually break this low, and bears ideally aiming for here, the low of this candle, which is under the 5700s, which we are very familiar with on the market profile. But it didn't happen. On the Wednesday and then the Thursday, they were impulsed on that Friday and closed above the 5 smoothing average, which brings us into last week, or this week. We begin the week with a massive engulfing candle to the downside. So people are thinking, hey, it's possible that we have a continuation and possibly break that low under that 5700. But no, we have our Tuesday candle that looked below this range but couldn't break that Wednesday low. This extended tail was from I believe a bit of an error in reporting. There was like some geopolitical tensions, and again, it was very tense. The 2 weeks ago, the market was just kind of freaking out, just with that, just really on edge, a bit jittery. So this Tuesday candle was just a bit of a continuation from that, a bit of a scare, thinking that there was more escalation that actually wasn't happening, but essentially this was a rejection of this lower range. And we catapulted, rocketed our way up above. So impulse here, so engulfed right back. Continuation to completely get us out of this range at all-time highs. And then we bull flag to end the week. This kind of reminds me, may not be the best reference. This kind of reminds me of more of like a drunken monkey, like monkey style for kung fu. The fact that these guys are able to kind of go down and come back up and just really stop and reverse like that. Not that, anyone is controlling this or this is manipulated or anything, but this doesn't really appear to be a bit of weakness. It just kind of reminds me of just kind of a style like this. So I thought that was interesting. That's what it kind of rings a bell for me there. So if that makes sense for you, cool. If you like little references like that, let me know, because I have a million of those in my head. I just try not to nerd out on camera. All right. So we're not going to go through the NQ. Essentially, they've been staying above their or daily five smooth and average. The 5 daily SMA. We had a few closes under there, but they're just really holding above that range, and they are still not above this 20,600s. But I wouldn't say that they're weak. They're about doing the same as the S&P 500. They just had a massive drop for their July leg down. Okay, perfect. So let's look at the daily. Gonna keep our same format. Again, we had the Monday surprise, and with the Tuesday and Wednesday, ideally try to push lower. You can see sellers here, here, and here, and then they get reversed. On still lighter volume to a degree, about average volume for the most part. You can even see it in the delta. Again, this was the 2 weeks ago. So as we head into this week here, we had another leg, we had another attempt lower, but they couldn't quite break those lows. And again, we had the very early in the session, the sneak attack. But again, it really feels like that the market is doing a very good job of doing like just pivoting their leg and just reversing at a moment's notice. Just I don't know, it's kind of cool to see. And then this is where you see the excess buyers. I would imagine these are some shorts being squeezed more. And then just some random ass sellers just trying to come in. This could be profit taking and new money shorts. Who knows? But you saw the negative delta just really pick up towards the end of the week, and no action lower at all. If anything, we're higher. So seems like that the buyers are being the sellers are being drugged and just squeezed, and this may be a sign that it may get worse as well. Essentially, the buyers aren't having to try at all to get prices up. Just curious to see. We'll give the same love to the NQ, who again, they're not at all-time highs. Their buyer and their seller delta is a bit weird here. I'm not going to go, you can kind of pause it and look at it yourself. But essentially, sellers are getting dragged as well. But buyers are trying to put a little bit of effort here. And it makes sense given the massive selling since the middle of September. Buyers are just now starting to kind of put a little more effort in. And you can see it from the maximum delta. 4,000 here, 2,500 here, 4,000 here. You don't see that down here until or around that same time where the sellers really started taking over. So again, who's buying and who's selling? We don't have enough time to kind of go through everything here, but seems like this may just be the shorts covering. So I guess old money, I believe, is the reference. All right. So typically before we would get to the market profile, so earnings, we're not going to see last week's earnings, but essentially it was just Friday. It was for the banks. So some of the banks reported. Sounds like they did really well. And we'll look at their actual performance on the sector tracker shortly. But this is a look into ahead for next week. So we'll make a comment on this shortly. So going back to last week again, not only are we just looking at the price action, trying to pay attention to the economic data and everything as well. My apologies for the, let's see if I can, it's not gonna work. I'm trying to blur out the voting thing here, but I'm not trying to reference anything. But anyways, so it was primarily Fed speakers Monday and Tuesday, and a little bit of light data. And Wednesday as well. You did have the FOMC minutes, but again, we weren't really expecting too much from that. So Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday was pretty chill. Thursday we did have the CPI, but we were more focused on the jobless claims, which is just funny to see. But initial jobless claims and CPI, very important. More Fed speakers. And then we had the PPI that came out on Friday, and then the consumer sentiment as well. So we'll take a quick look at the reactions. So I'm glad I'm make sure I make a note of that. We'll do our reactions for the SOCs. Okay, cool. We want to take a look at how the market responded to the CPI and the jobless claims and the PPI as well, just to see where we are structurally. Okay, so for the sector tracker, again, this was just Friday, so we don't want to do just a 5-day, so we don't skip out on Thursday. So the S&P ended up about a little above a percent. The leaders being industrial and technology, or technology and industrials, followed by financials who did have their earnings. So again, this was solid to see. Some of the bigger players were doing fairly well. Not Berkshire's Hathaway, not Visa. I don't think they're reporting, but um, I guess the actual banks, is that what you would call it? Because I know these are like credit card companies, but the actual banks are up a fair amount. So, solid job for them. Again, we've been keeping an eye on the financials. If you look at them for the month, they've just been doing, damn well over the past month. Just very nice. Actually, one of the best. Ooh, how are we doing for the year? Oh my goodness, yeah, they're actually one of the best for the year. That's nice to see. And again, we are about 2 months towards the end of the year. So it seems like financials are really running through the finish line and not running to it. So again, solid performance for the industrials. Good to see them doing well when they had their time in the spotlight. So last week was just fairly good overall, really good for technology. The financials, even good seeing healthcare get in there. So our top three, K, F, and V, just really stood out and really showed out this week. This allowed discretionary and the communication sectors to really take a break. Even utilities, I'm assuming this negative 2.5% may just be profit taken. It may be something I'm not understanding. And the industrial got them some as well. But essentially, the heavy hitters did all the heavy lifting this week, and the market did a damn good job. So yeah, solid there. Just another look at the earnings for next week. So we have more banks on Tuesday. A little bit of health. Wait, I don't think Johnson & Johnson is healthcare. I'm sorry. So a little bit of the banks, Goldman Sachs, United Healthcare. That may be industrials. I'm not sure. Yeah, really, just really Wednesday and Thursday as well with Netflix after hours. I'm not gonna go through all these, and then some of the credit card companies here, at least for American Express. So yeah, we're definitely starting to pick up on earnings. So yeah, that's nice to see, especially since the data is going to take a little bit of a back seat. But okay, so we won't belabor this, but we have our monthly composite. See my little note, and ideally we're trying to stay above buyers want to stay above the 5,700 as they're in control on all three time frames. The highest time frame, the intermediate, and the daily / momentum. So above here, it's all bullish. So essentially our monthly composite is a B-shaped profile. So a lot of volume was just kind of here near these lows. And just notate the structure of the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It's a lot of like breaks, a lot of like urgency that's happening with these days. Each day is a push upwards. Really one consolidation, but then just more pushing. Just a lot of urgency up here. And this is what makes me believe this is more of like short squeezing as well. Because it's not like it's like a slow grind like this where, slowly churning. It's just like, it's just shooting up. This feels like a short squeeze, but again, we'll look at it a few other ways shortly. So still a lot of singles that are left. So there was a singles on Monday. They were taken up on Tuesday, and then singles were left, and they still haven't been revisited. There was some singles here on Wednesday that was filled in the next day. And then there are some singles left on Friday as we broke out of that consolidation range. So we'll go ahead and merge these. So again, we have our high volume nodes here, our point of control. Point of control is, funny enough, is the former all-time highs. So it's nice to see that price broke out of the all-time highs and just built massive volume over that level, and which is the 58.35s. So again, looking at that weekly there, down, up, consolidate, up, quite bullish, from what we can see. High volume node, high volume node, high volume nodes, or high volume kind of area down here, but just a lot of gaps here and here and here, and of course the singles. So say what you will about that, as long as the buyers protect all these areas, then they're in control. If bears ever do get some kind of momentum going, it should be like an easy coast as they head their way back to at least the 5800s. And then once they get back to the 5800s, good luck getting back down to the 5700s. But it's definitely possible. It's definitely possible. So solid job from the buyers. They are bursting through some sell walls and using them as support. Bursting through, support. Bursting through, chop, burst. So again, solid overall. I don't think we need to spend too much time on the NQ. Again, just merging these weeks. It's the weekly compared to the monthly. Theirs is more of a P-shaped profile instead of the multi-distributed. Here, it seems like all these shorts that were down here just puked out of their longs, puked out of their shorts is what it seems like. There is no real pullback. Just straight aggressive, and then just bull flagging to end the week. So the NQ may not be as sexy where they are structurally. What they left behind is much more aggressive, and that makes sense given all of the shorts that we discussed not too long ago. So again, that gives us a little idea of who's buying. Just saying, because if it was a higher time frame player, OTF, they're gonna do more of like a slow grinding nature. It seems like this is urgency to get out, and the only one who is urgent is people who are panicking, I would imagine. Just a thought. All right, take a quick break. All right, I have to pause and get a few breaths in. So again, saying, what the hell is that? Okay, so same situation. Everything that we're looking at here. Okay, I see. Same situation here for the NQ. Their monthly began somewhere in this range, like we were talking about, at least 2 weeks ago, rather. And this is where we had that pullback lower. We had our impulse here, and the NQ just kind of went down into that range, and then this is that impulsivity that we were seeing, and this was like no real pullback, and this is the bull flag to end the week. So just to show you what that looks like on the candles, the 138-minute candles, that is. And then the same situation for the ES. This is that impulse area on the daily. We started that month trying to take out those lows. There is no ability to eat this candle at all. You can see the 1, 2, 3, 4 touches. This final touch looks like okay, cool. If you guys don't want to, sell lower, they ended up puking their lungs, and we burst through the all-time highs, pull back into that area just a little bit, and then we close at the all-time highs. And again, this is the area that we've been looking at for the longest. We saw this from the market profile. So this is very sturdy support, and this is around the 5730s essentially. So again, just to see what that looks like on the 138-minute candles. So we'll go back to the NQ. We have Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. Note, we mentioned there hasn't been too many trend days from what we saw. We got a few this week, so we'll look at that shortly. Again, I'll allow you to look at the delta, super negative, so on and so forth. The darker the color, the more concentrated that it is. But you can see sellers really tried on Monday, ended up being squeezed on Tuesday. And this is when Tuesday we started having our trend days up. We pushed up, kind of bull flagged a little bit and kept pushing up. It's nice to see. Straight grind up on Wednesday again. More of a consolidation on Thursday. And then essentially just a bear flag on Friday. This was not the case on the S&P 500. Same start on Monday. More of a consolidation and a leak lower on Monday. And then a grind up on Tuesday. And it's just more of a trend day on Wednesday. Push up, small pullback, close near the highs. Consolidation on Thursday, and then more of the bull flag on a Friday. So now I look at this, not too much of a trend days, a little bit on Tuesday and Wednesday, not so much Thursday and Friday. And I look at this from a trend day perspective just to see the collective response from everyone. Like, we want higher prices, not this weird drunken monkey hanging on the sellers kind of price action. So just interesting to see. Just interesting to see. All right, let's look at the 3 minutes. All right, so we have. So I put the little labels on here. You can see which day: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. This would be the end of last week, and then Sunday night's overnight session. So again, just a reminder, we're looking at the S&P 500. This was Monday of this week. So remember, we had the crashing down from last week, targeting this impulse low at the 5700s, ended up being reversed and trapped on Friday. So as we start our trap day on Friday, we drift lower in the overnight. Drift lower about 40 points. Come back up into the lower third range, consolidate, and then leak lower. It's exactly what we were just looking at on the footprint. This is the overnight scare from the geopolitical tensions. This all happened in 1 minute. We dropped from the 5748 to the 5725. So all in 1 minute, pierced down and immediately came back up. And that kind of set the tone for the week. This was extremely scary in real time. And then we just consolidated to the right. And then it's been straight impulse since then. So scary start on Monday for the overnight and the RTH. Even more so starting Tuesday overnight. But it was accepted that these prices are valid near the 5750s and the 5730s. And price discovery higher. So as we head back into the prior day's range, we're seeing open test drives, possible trend days from these lows, from under. We're seeing trend days within the prior days' range, and where people are potentially trapped. So that trapped behavior that we saw on this Friday, we are now resuming on this Tuesday. As we're resuming with these higher highs and these higher lows, we finish the day with a nice trend day. We consolidate above the prior day's IB high, and then we have a open rejection reverse, where we try to, let's zoom in on this. We try to take out some of the prior days' range, some of the overnight session, and we couldn't. Oh, I'm so sorry. And we couldn't. It was a straight down, straight reversal. And then we ended up on a trend up day. Any kind of pullbacks immediately retaken, finishing their highs. Okay, so that's Wednesday. So far, we have people are trapped on Friday. We have, nah, fuck this, we finna try again on Monday. Rejected. Impulse higher. Accepted. Impulse higher. Accepted. Though we did have some downside, and this is where we saw the CPI candle. And I think that's what's interesting here. We had our CPI candle here. We'll do it this way. Looks like this is a fair amount of range. This was 58.16 to 58.44. So about 30 points of range, if you will. We'll do this as purple, same color. I'm just going to gloss over this for now, but we'll come back for sure. So we had our overnight session drifting a little lower. CPI came out, broke that overnight high, and tried to head down towards the prior day's IB high. Again, we'll see how we respond a little later on. The fact that this is all jumbled up gives you an idea of what we're kind of looking at anyways. But essentially, open test drive, they shoot lower, push up, test lower, push up, aiming for that CPI high. Couldn't get it. Test at the low point of that range again, actually created a new intraday low. And then we just pushed up again to finish near the IB high for the day. Again, more drifting lower, coming back up into the midpoint of that range where we had the PPI, which is really didn't do too much here. Still within the CPI range. You had an open drive from the bank earnings and just fucking pushed it for the first A and B bracket. I mean, at this point, it seems like everyone is just really tired at this point. Once we pull above, well, essentially just bear flag for the remainder of the day. Yeah, we had a nice little test lower, but I mean, we still finished pretty high for the most part. So again, when you look at it, just on the intraday basis, this was a trap. This was a trap on Friday. Tried to push a little lower. They got trapped again. Started more of a short squeeze. Continuation of the short squeeze. They tried to push it a little lower here on CPI and had no kind of look at all. Just sat sideways, probably hoping and praying, and then ended up being squeezed a little bit more at the end of the week. Interesting. A quick look again on the daily candle. This is exactly what we're seeing. That attempt on Monday. They got caught, trapped, impulse through. They tried again, more of just a consolidation day, waiting for CPI, and then got engulfed one more time to finish the week. Impulse through. We're not going to do the same thing here for the NQ, not at least not in as much detail. That's a trapping. This is the Monday. They got more trapped and squeezed on the same day for Tuesday. Wednesday, even more of a squeeze. Thursday, they tried to push down lower for the CPI, got a few more shorts involved, and really squeezed it through. Less of a consolidation day, more of a trapping reversal day, but ended up, ending, pretty decent for that day. And then just more of this more of this bull flagging day, off strong openings from what we're seeing. Trying to push it lower, getting engulfed through. So again, very, very strong show for the buyers. So I really believe that's about it. I don't know, I probably glossed over a few of the storylines or headlines, and that's fine. But just looking from the price standpoint, essentially we have tested lower. and are not seeing as much volume lower as we are at higher prices. So there's an urgency for people to buy, and they're accepting higher prices. So this is just more of the bullish nature, though it may be with lighter volume. This is typical bullish behavior, and we have not only people wanting to buy, we also have a lot of trap sellers who are consistently fighting this trend. The NQ is now above that area, the 20K 300s that we were talking about. They looked above. They finally got that consolidation that they needed, pushed above, and now they're actually staying above. We're now closing above the 20K 400s. So me personally, I'm really excited to see this for the NQ because things may start getting real nasty if the NQ can start pushing above the 700s and start hitting some of these singles that are up here. It can get pretty bad for people. All those sellers, all the hold on. So this is the composite for the all the way back to like April or whatever, and then even some for this current month. Like the majority of this shit is like sellers, man. You know, if they're still in here, we saw on the delta just how many excess sellers there are. So this can get pretty bad for the look, all these people are going to be trapped. I don't know, it's going to be pretty funny. But anyways, I think I may leave it there. We see that the buyers have done a excellent job of fighting for price and fighting through sellers, and they're not even trying as much as they need to. And the people who are selling, this is more of like short business. It doesn't appear that they're actively trying to get price lower. They just may be selling for a short time. I feel a little bit sad that I didn't spend too much time on the 3 minute here, but we want to give more just kind of the week that we're headed into, and then the week that we just finished. Essentially, by the dip, the these are very strong openings. These open test drives, you can see selling is trying, and they're giving up fairly early. And even this open drive, now that you got financials, the big banks on board as well. Oh man, you know things are definitely gonna look up for the buyers. But the fact that everybody's really just turning bullish right now and maybe starting to believe, I'm not saying for you to be a skeptic, but just make sure that we're following what price is doing. We the biggest data pieces that we had was CPI, PPI, and the initial jobless claims. We have closed above closed above those ranges. So whatever news, however that was interpreted, we had a good reaction to it. So we have some slightly. Actually, let's actually pull that up. I don't think we discussed it too much. But the week ahead, so Columbus, yeah, there is a holiday. I believe banks are closed tomorrow, so that's kind of important. So volume's going to be super low tomorrow, and we are on holiday. So future markets are still going to be open, but it should be fairly light volume. A little bit of Fed speakers, more Fed speakers just for this week. Actually, just Monday and Tuesday. Empire State, so that's going to be a bit light. The import price index, these should be pretty light. I guess we're just looking at jobless claims now. I guess that's just a thing. Some more of the retail sales data, and then we should have retail doing, or consumer discretionary should be doing more reporting probably in the next coming weeks. So I'd imagine this may be somewhat important, these first three actually. Um, and then just a bit lighter again on the data, and then we have Fed Waller to end the week. We already talked about the earnings, so we definitely want to keep an eye on this. So things may start getting a little bit interesting. Monday may be a bit of a snooze fest, but we're going to be coming back to Tuesday with not only earnings, but a little bit of data, but primarily earnings. We really want to look out for Thursday and Friday. Thursday and Friday from a data standpoint, and really just keep an eye on earnings just in general for the whole week. It's earnings season, so yeah, let's make sure that we get our rest and focus on next week because it's gonna be interesting. Also, we have like 3 weeks until the election, so yeah. All right, thanks for joining, and y'all take care.